Hi, YouTube world. My name is Kristen Jennings. I'm one of the directors here at the Movement Studios. We're actually today going to give you some information about our competition teams. We've received a lot of calls in the past few months about our teams with a lot of questions about auditions. So I wanted to make a frequently asked questions video so you can get some more information about our upcoming auditions as well as how we do things at the Movement Studios. So our philosophy at the Movement Studio is that we want to transform everyday dancers into artists. We think that it's really important in this world if you want to dance past high school to be more than a competitive dancer. So we do that through technique, we do that through artistry, we do that through storytelling, and we do that through kind of trying to prepare them more for the future. So figuring out exactly what dancers are looking to do in the future and making sure we're preparing them in the right way by setting goals and giving them the experience they need, whether they want to be a choreographer, a teacher, dance on Broadway, dance in LA, etc. So we do that through our award-winning team. We do that through bringing in amazing guest faculty to teach master classes and our intensive. We do that through conventions with our dancers. We also provide report cards and progress meetings with dancers on what they need to work on and how they can better themselves through dance. And we're also working with a few dancers in our apprentice program. They're shadowing us as teachers and also being teacher's assistants, and then some of them are going on to teach their own classes. So we're just a little bit different than a lot of the other studios in that we're more geared towards dancers who want more out of their movement, dancers who want to go on and do something with dance after high school, and trying to help dancers figure out exactly how they're going to do that and what's the best path for them. So about our competition teams a little bit. This year we have 50 members on our teams, although we have no number in mind for this coming audition, so we're not limited in any way. We did make cuts the last 2 years, and we will probably make cuts again. We're not just looking for people who are going to give us money. We're looking for people who are going to be a really excellent addition to our teams and people who we have a great placement for already with a company that's established. Right now we have kind of two different groups of dancers. We have our movement pack and our industry company. So those have differences in the requirements, they have differences in their competitions, and they have differences in the amount of dances they do. So our movement pack is more like our intermediate group. So they have to do one ballet class, one jazz class, contemporary class, and strength and stretch, as well as our block, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then also, if they're interested in competing tap, they need to take a tap class also. Our industry company, they have to do all those things, plus an additional ballet class and a hip hop class. So again, if they want to compete tap, they can take that as well. Another difference is our movement pack, they only participate in 3 competitions. And those are mostly competition-only events. And then our industry company, they participate in 5, and most of those are convention competitions, which I'll explain a little bit about conventions later because I think some people haven't been to any. We're also different in that we don't do any of our choreography in our technique classes. So that means that our Jazz 5 class is only to learn jazz technique. You're not learning a competition routine in class. You're not cleaning a competition routine in class. It's just for technique. I've been doing this for quite a few years now, and that really does give us the best well-rounded dancers who are great at picking up choreography quickly, who are excellent technicians, and who are really, on a different level than other dancers. We also have requirements for technique classes. I talked about what classes you have to take. You need to be enrolled in those classes in the fall as well as in the summer. So our summer session runs July 9th through August 17th. So it's 6 weeks. We ask that dancers be in class at least 5 of those weeks. Probably maybe some people have vacation plans already. We do ask our company dancers who are returning We put out those dates very early. Every year we're starting the Monday after the 4th of July. So we do ask that you guys be mindful of that, since we have 6 weeks, 3 on each side. If you could take vacations on that time, that would be great, just because the technique classes are so important, and we are starting choreography on the weekends over the summer. Our company dancers, along with competition, we also participate in a February preview. So that's when we put on a show at Nova, and we put all of our routines on stage, professionally lit with all the costumes, as a preview of what the competition season is going to be. I have colleagues from other studios or outside the area come and actually judge with verbal feedback, and then we share that with the dancers. It's kind of like a rough draft before we get on stage, and it's a really great experience. It's really fun. We also participate in some community events. We try to do things in which we give back to the community, and where it's also going to be a really great experience for the dancers. So we're not just like putting you at malls and places that's going to be good for TMS. We're putting you at events that we think the dancers will get a lot out of, and the dancers will have fun performing at as well. All of our rehearsals are done on the weekends. That's Saturdays and Sundays. Most of our younger dancers have rehearsals on Saturday, and those rehearsals run from 12 to 6. It might not be 6 hours every weekend. It might be 3 for a group, it might be 2 for a group. And then our older dancers typically have rehearsals on Sundays from 1 to 7. Again, we try to set it so one group of kids aren't rehearsing the entire time, but it kind of depends, because different from a lot of other studios, we don't have specific teams. We have the 2 companies, but then within those companies, we have a lot of freedom to mix and mingle different groups together. So, for example, we have, I think, like 4 senior large groups. None of them are the same combination of dancers. They're all handpicked by choreographers, and each dance is different, which helps make the dancers really well-rounded, which helps push the dancers, because they're dancing with different people. Our parents and dancers set the max number of dances they can participate in. So if you come to audition for us with your contract, you'll fill out what's the maximum number of dances you're interested in doing, and we will keep that in mind for casting. And then the directors and choreographers cast the pieces. So for example, you can say, I only want to be in 4 dances, and we will absolutely abide by that, but we will put you where we think it's best suited for you and where you will grow the most. So for example, a dancer who's a really strong contemporary dancer, if they can only be in 4 dances, we probably would put them in like 3 contemporary dances and maybe 1 as like a push, maybe like a hip hop, something that maybe is a little outside their comfort zone, so they can grow a lot from the year. But it's not up to the dancer to say, oh, they want to be in so-and-so's jazz. Unfortunately, you don't get that say. We're casting where we think they're going to be best fit. So this next section is a little bit about rehearsals. I did mention that we have them on the weekends. Our rehearsals will start, as I mentioned, July 14th through 15th. So if you are planning to audition, go ahead and block off like 6 weekends. We don't rehearse every weekend with each group. So for example, of like a group of industry juniors, I'll try to rehearse them like every other week. I'll try not to have them in there every week, and when they're in, I'll try to have them only in for 3 hours. It's a lot, and we know it's a big sacrifice for both the kids and the parents, and we want to be mindful of that. I think that's about it for rehearsals. So those are our Saturday, Sunday weekend rehearsals. Along with that, I mentioned the block. So Wednesdays, we run through all the dances. So our rehearsals on the weekends are times to clean, our time to learn, our time to perfect. Our Wednesday rehearsal block is our time to just kind of like maintain. So because we're not running our routines every weekend, we know how kids' brains are. It can go in one ear and out the other. They come to rehearsal. Next time they don't know what they're doing. So our Wednesday rehearsals are to just run through the routines, make sure it's all still fresh in your mind, go over like basic general things, but it shouldn't be the time to like learn anything or major cleaning. We tend to run each dance like 10 to 15 minutes during those blocks. And over the summer, that will take place Wednesday night from 7 to 9. We haven't done the fall schedule yet. This year, block was an hour and 15 minutes. I know it will be longer this coming year just because we grew so much from our first year, and I think we're going to grow even more based on the amount of calls we're getting. So it will be probably between an hour and a half and 2 hours on Wednesday. But again, I have a schedule for that, and once they're done their dances on Wednesday, they can leave. They're not required to stay if they're finished rehearsing all their pieces. We only allow you to miss one rehearsal per dance. We typically have 2 rehearsals, 2 3-hour rehearsals to learn the dance, so that's 6 hours, and then we typically have 2 rehearsals after that to clean the dance, or 1 to 2. So you're looking, I would say, on average, about 12 to 14 hours per dance. Sorry, my computer's going to shut off. So that's another reason why you maybe want to take that into consideration with your maximum amount of dances, because however many dances you set, that's how often you'll be here on the weekends. I post all of the rehearsals, the schedule. We have a team app. I also post it. We have a company bulletin board, and every Monday I send out a weekly email with reminders for the week, and I put it in there as well. So I've done a really good job of keeping everybody informed, and it's really hard to miss when you have rehearsal because it is different every weekend. If you decide to audition and you have any conflicts, you should send those to me as soon as possible. If you let me know you're going on vacation this week, I will try to have your dancer not scheduled. Dancers are also responsible if they do miss that one rehearsal. They're responsible for learning the choreography. So when they come back to the rehearsal, they're not going to walk in and say, I don't know what I'm doing. They're going to walk in and know the choreography, and it's our expectation that they do that, or else they may not be put into that section of the dance. And again, that's just part of us preparing them for the real world of dance. In the real world of dance, you miss a rehearsal, you don't walk in unprepared, or you get fired. So we're trying to teach them these lessons now. We do travel a little bit. We try to stay pretty local, but with the conventions, they only go to certain cities. So like this year, we're traveling to Norfolk and Bethesda. We've gone to Baltimore before, but we're not going like anywhere super wild or crazy. And our competition only ones, we have only been to Woodbridge, Fairfax area. So many things come through there. We figure why make you guys all travel outside of the area. A little bit more about conventions. I didn't really talk about them earlier. So conventions are a traveling like masterclass workshop that we attend. So in the past we've attended Dance Makers, Velocity, Intrigue, a lot of the break the floor ones like Jump, Nuvo, Ash. We've attended a ton of them, and they're really great experiences for the dancers. We choose to do them because they get to network with a lot of different choreographers. We actually have a student who became an apprentice with one, and she's networking with them all the time. They're mentors to her now, and she has really, really great plug-ins when she moved to LA and now knows all these people and is able to take class with them, and they call her to assist. So it's networking, it's the technique, and it's also getting to know other people in the dance community. There's a big difference at a convention and taking class with people all weekend and, you know, running in groups with them versus competing with them on stage. We've had the kids make a lot of really great connections that way. They also offer really great scholarships to come back to the convention, scholarships for college. It's getting a little bit more out of your competition experience than just a regular competition. We do our competition routines there also. They do have a competition. It tends to be smaller. It tends to be Friday night and Saturday evening. It's not what some of us are used to here, where it's Saturday 7 a.m. till 11 p.m., Sunday 7 a.m. till 11 p.m., maybe Friday, maybe Thursday, because really what's most important to them is the classes. So you go in, take all the classes, and then you compete some dances, then you take classes the next day. And it's a really great experience. Kids get a ton out of it, and out of everyone, they get an audition, which is so important. And you learn how to audition, you learn how to be better at auditioning, you learn how to deal with rejection, you learn how to get better at it. And auditioning is its own art, and so we think it's really important for these kids to get as much audition experience as possible. We do solos, duos, and trios. With your contract you turn in at auditions, you'll turn in a request for a solo, duet, and trio. That means you would like to do one, you would like to be considered for one. That does not mean you're going to get one of either of them. Sometimes it's a question of you're not quite ready. Sometimes it's a question of you'd be great in a duet trio, but we just don't have anyone who you're going to look great next to. Myself and Nicole are very picky about who we put dancers with in duets and trios. We want it to make sense. We want the body types to go together, and we really think it through. So it's not just like, I want to dance with my best friend, even though we're totally different, then you can't. That's not going to work for us. You do not request your choreographer, and you do not request who you do duets and trios with. The choreographers are the experts, and we know who you're best suited to work with for choreography and what dancers you're going to look the best with also. If you do receive a solo, you'll receive an email from your choreographer about scheduling. If you do not, you'll receive an email from me about that we think you're not quite ready for the solo this year, and normally some recommendations about what to work on in the future or kind of our reasoning behind that. Again, we're really big on keeping dancers and parents in the loop and being upfront with things. And our reasons for only allowing some dancers to do solos is it's a really big financial commitment to do a solo. You're looking at a rental fee up front, so it's $150 one-time rental fee that pays for your studio space. And then every time you compete a solo, you're looking at about $110 for competition, and then you're paying your choreographer their going rate to run the routine and choreograph the routine. And each of us kind of has a different rate based on experience, so it can be a really big financial investment, and we only want families to do that if we think it's going to be a positive experience for the dancers. We only allow one solo per dancer. I know that's like way different from a lot of other studios. At TMS, we're really about quality over quantity, and also most of our faculty judges as well. And I love seeing dancers get out there and do two solos that are completely different and show that they're versatile, but for the most part, we're not seeing that nowadays. So we want our dancers to really focus on one style, on one dance, and really perfecting that and making it as amazing as they can and as amazing as we can as choreographers, so we're not stretched so thin. So that's very different for a lot of people, but it takes a little getting used to, but then you'll find that the one solo is doing better than any of the three solos ever did, just because you can focus all your time and energy into that one solo. So the next section is about our costs a little bit. So of course there's tuition. That's what you pay every month on the first of the month to the studio. That's going to depend on how many hours of dance you're taking. So obviously if you're taking the bare minimum requirements versus you're taking as many classes as you can, it's going to be different. And all of our rates are on the website. We try to be very transparent with that. So check it out on our website. It's under the rates and policies page. That's our current rates from 2017 and for the summer. So as I mentioned, we also have that solo, duo, trio rental fee. So that's $150 per routine. So if you have a solo, you're going to pay $150 one time for that fee. And then if you have a duo, it would be $75 each. If you have a trio, it would be $50 each, just making up that $150. And then also you pay the choreographers directly based on their rates. They'll let you know. We also have competition fees, of course. Those are a little bit different from competition to competition. They set the prices, but I looked through this year and the average solo was $110, the average group was $45, and the average duet trio is $50. We also have convention fees. So like I mentioned, when we travel and do those conventions, that's average like $250, $300 a convention, and that pays for classes all weekends. Also costume costs, that depends on the dance. It depends on what the choreographer has in mind. It's different from dance to dance, but it's normally on average for us about $70. We're not super glitzy or crazy with our costumes. A lot of the times we'll get like a dress from Forever 21 and black booty shorts, and it's beautiful on stage and we get nothing but compliments on it. So it probably is less than a lot of people are used to, but they look really stunning and flattering on stage. All of those things, so the competition costs, the costumes, the solo duo, trios, those things are billed on the 15th of the month. So you're not getting hit at the same time with tuition and your comp stuff. And I'll give you a schedule once we have made the teams. We'll have a parent meeting normally in June, July, and that will have a breakdown of when everything is billed. So we start those in August. So say like we're going to Dance Makers this year. On August 15th, we might bill for Dance Makers. The next month, we might bill for competition costumes. So we try to spread it out. And those payments normally go from August through December. Our auditions are June 3rd from 1 to 6. Dancers should be prepared to do contemporary jazz and hip hop. And if they tap, we'll ask to see like a few steps, but not like a full combination. They should wear something that makes them stand out and is very flattering. So since you have to do all those styles, I would pick a versatile outfit. I would pick a bright color. They don't need to wear tights or leotards. They can choose to wear whatever they want to wear that's going to make them stand out. They should also do their hair secured away from their face in a way that's flattering, like no wispies, just in general, like professional looking. You should always wear light makeup to an audition so you look your best. We are going to take pictures of dancers at the auditions so we can post on our website. So they should be photo ready as well. They can prepare for auditions by stretching at home, taking as many classes as possible, and especially classes where you're going to have to pick up choreography very quickly, because when you go into an audition, you have like 30 minutes to learn 45 seconds of choreography, and that's intimidating to a lot of kids who don't have that experience. All dancers do re-audition each year, and dancers are not guaranteed a spot. Even if you've already been on TMS companies, you need to re-audition and you may not get a spot the next year. For current TMS dancers, we look at the audition as well as their performances on stage, as well as their work ethic and technique classes to help us make that decision. I mentioned the audition starts at 1. Sign-in will start at 12:30, and at 1 o'clock we are like starting auditions. So dancers should come between 12:30 and 1 to sign in, to get stretching, and kind of just get like mentally prepared to start. We are not going to do a group warm-up. We must have a final decision from your family if you plan to do our team or not by June 15th. So after that time, your contract goes into effect and you are with TMS for the rest of the year. Results will be posted by June 18th. And any new dancers, along with your placement for what company you'll be on, you will also receive what level classes you should take for the summer. And your level class has nothing to do with what dances you've been selected for or what company you're on. We have classes that have industry kids and movement kids and kids who don't compete with us and kids who've never competed before. That's what's really great about having technique-based classes is, we get this big pot of dancers, and each class we can split level people. So if you're an amazing tapper, but you're kind of lousy in ballet, we can put you in tap 4, ballet 2. We want to work with each dancer on where their strengths are and where they need to be pushed. We do accept virtual auditions, although we much prefer to see you in person. Just to know that if we're not sure about you in a virtual audition, we're going to err on the side of caution. So that means we might err in, well, let's only put her in 2 or 3 dances, even though she said she wanted to be in 7, or we might err on, I don't know, she might not be ready, we might err on not taking you. So it's always better to do an in-person audition. If you would like to do a virtual audition, though, and the only reason should be like you're out of town, pretty much that should be the only reason, you should contact Nicole. Her email is on our website also, and she's in charge of setting up all those virtual auditions. I think those are like the big things, the big questions I'm getting. Again, I just wanted to put this out there because I'm getting a lot of calls and giving this information out a lot. and I'm happy to talk to you. But we also have most of this information on our website. So if you have any questions, look under our Perform category on the website, and there's blurbs about industry and movement and requirements and what we're all about here at the Movement Studios. If you have any other questions, you can call the studio. You can contact me. My email is on the website also. And we look forward to moving with you.